Hey, I'm Eva and welcome back to my channel. Now, before we start, you can't even see it. Okay, I'm from Detroit girl. Anyway, today you're gonna watch as we tear into this travel trailer that we bought recently, a 2005 Riverside. I think they discontinued that brand, but a Riverside travel trailer. And yes, it is a big project. It is something that we thought we got a good deal on, but we realized really quickly that we didn't know what we were doing. But luckily I have a husband who is extremely handy. I would not recommend anybody else to get a RV with water damage if you do not know what you're doing. I mean, we didn't know what we were doing either, but I have somebody who will like die before he lets a project like take a hold of him. So he did everything he had to do, all the research to figure out how to fix everything, most of everything, and we got it into working condition. So anyway, after that ramble, if you want to see how we work through this RV, keep watching. First thing was taking off the cabinet doors, and if I look confused, it's because I was, because these were not normal screws. So in this project, I had two major priorities. Number one was for it to be safe for my family because mold is not something that you want to play with. So we had to tackle the water damage first. And number two was to be able to salvage as much furniture as I could. And thankfully the water damage was contained within the ceiling and a wall. So I was able to keep the furniture pieces that I wanted to, even though they still had to have a lot of work. When tackling something like this, I will always recommend that you consult a professional because this is something that you need to do for safety and for peace of mind. However, if you want to know what we did, there was a couple things. So we got mold control, which was a product that I knew would take care of the mold. We also got cleaning vinegar because I wasn't comfortable with just one product. And we also had borax on hand, along with leaving all of the windows open, all of the doors open the entire time to make sure that everything dry and ventilated properly. So there was a lot that happened, and this didn't happen overnight. So the stuff that you're seeing, this is not day one. This is probably about day 5 at this point. So it took a lot of effort and work and patience, but we worked through it all, and you see him taking everything apart. And once he opened the walls, oh my God, we had a couple of come to Jesus moments because we thought this was too much for us, but we realized that it wasn't as bad as what we thought. We just had to replace a bunch of wood, we had to replace a bunch of insulation, but it all worked out. It just, again, it took a bunch of patience and dedication because we almost quit. We almost threw in the towel a couple of times, I'm not even gonna lie. So the wood that you see here is the wood that had to be replaced, and believe it or not, once we took out the walls, you could see exactly where the water damage stopped. What happened was when the slide was in and there was a leak, it just kind of ran down the slide and it ran down the ceiling in that area. So there was just this big chunk of area that got damaged, but the sides for the most part were pretty good. So yeah, that's how we tackled everything. After the damage was replaced, then we had to put everything back together. And one thing we learned taking this apart is that RVs are not meant to be renovated. I honestly believe they just kind of want you to buy a brand new one or take it to an RV dealer, and in that case you're gonna pay so much money it won't even be worth it anymore. So we decided to take it the DIY way because that's what this channel is all about. So here I'm taking the fabric off of these wood pieces, and that's just to put them right back on a beam to try to save as much money as I could. And because this trailer actually sat for 2 years before we even purchased it, these doors were completely mildewed and molded. So I used some mold control, and then I used some vinegar, and after that, to remove the stains, I used some bleach to clean it all off. So that's what you see here. Actually, it was a combination of bleach and Dawn soap. So here, what you see is me attempting to sand away the seams. I knew that when I painted it, these seams were gonna pop out, and I didn't want to see that. And for some reason in my mind, I was like, maybe if I sanded or put wood filler in here, it will work. Absolutely did not work. So this is a fail that you see here. And I actually end up putting a wood veneer strip on there to go over the seams, and I'll actually show you how I did that later because I had to do it to the ceiling as well. And I love dancing, and I always have to make time for a dance break. I deleted the other ones, but I just included this one in here. And just like I would do any other project that I'm gonna paint, I sanded everything down just to kind of scuff it up a little bit, nothing too crazy. So as I stated before, the whole project, I wanted to salvage as much as possible, and that includes these little wooden end caps. So with this particular one, it actually ended up being chipped off, so I just used some wood filler to fill that in, and then once it dried, I sanded it down. That way when I painted over it, it wasn't like this clear imperfection showing. So that's what you see here. And here's a tip, RV wallpaper is not the same as household wallpaper. So if you want to remove RV wallpaper, you got to heat it up with something like a blow dryer to reheat the glue, and then you can pull it back. If you try to use water, it will not work. Just know I tried. For the replacement wood, we used some underlayment panels from Home Depot. You can buy the replacement RV panels, but they cost about like $30-$40 a panel, where these were like way cheaper. So that's what we chose to use. Here's the veneer strip that I was referring to earlier. So on the ceilings and on the walls where the wood pieces meet, I wanted something more decorative to cover that seam, and that's what I use this veneer strip for. And it already comes with like a glue on there, but I just added just a little bit of wood glue just to be sure that it actually stayed down. And all you have to do is use an iron to heat it up. So you cover the iron with aluminum foil so you don't mess up your iron. And then once the glue was on there, heat it up, and then it stuck. Now, me describing this right now, I sound like super confident, but I was not sure that it was gonna work. So here I'm like hoping and praying that it worked, but it did, and it did exactly what I wanted it to do. So I was happy about that. And that was my victory dance because I was so happy. So now that everything was coming together, it was time to paint. And if you are one of my faithful subscribers, you watch my videos, you know I hate painting. Even though that's contradictory to what I do on this channel, I hate it. So I started here, and you see it's not that good of a job. I was getting paint all in my face. So I actually begged my husband to like take it over for me. And this is here. You see him actually doing exactly that. He took it over after I gave him the puppy dog eyes. He started painting, and to be honest, it was still a lot to paint for him himself. And he actually went and switched it up after he realized his paint job wasn't that good, and he went and got his paint sprayer, and he went ahead and finished the whole project. So we got it done eventually. I just hate painting. It's one of those things, it makes such a drastic difference, but it is not fun to do. So we got it done, but yeah, no. Now for the kitchen, I wanted to epoxy the countertop just like I did the countertop in my home. These are the products that I use. I got them off Amazon, the Incredible Solutions epoxy brand, and it actually worked really well. I used some leftover pigment from one of my last projects. I recorded the entire thing to show you guys, but I think because the file was so big, I couldn't upload it here, and that's okay. I'll do a separate video showing you exactly how to epoxy a countertop, as well as the pros and the cons, because there are some cons. But this is just the after of my faux marble kitchen countertop. And I actually did the dinette table as well as the bathroom kitchen exact same way. So all three countertops. It was stressful, but they look beautiful. Once we gave that epoxy like a day to dry, he went ahead and started doing the floors, because the epoxy, it drips down when it dries and cures. So yeah, he's putting the floors down here, and everything is just starting to come together. And these are vinyl plank floors. I wanted something that was lighter than laminate flooring. And if you're wondering why lighter, it's because you're gonna pull this trailer with your truck, and every pound counts when you're doing something like this. For the backsplash, I picked this peel and stick backsplash from Amazon, and it was actually extremely easy to put on. I had to make a lot of cuts, but it was still easy to apply. And I actually recommend this for like your home. If you're not that handy but you want a pretty backsplash, this is actually a really good option. I wouldn't recommend it for renters though, because it might take down the paint when you try to take it down. Please excuse my hair. But anyway, for the fridge, I decided to do this stainless steel wallpaper. I was going to initially paint it white because I've seen that at so many renovations, but I actually like the idea of having this full stainless steel fridge. So this wallpaper was like $9, and I feel like it made such a difference. At this point, everything is starting to come all together. I almost started not to include this fail, but I was like, no, sometimes you gotta show it. Things don't always work as they plan. So at the beginning of this project, this sink and this tub, I knew I wanted to recolor. I wanted them to be bright white, and this is the before. So when I did the after, it looked absolutely terrible. And on camera, it's not that bad, but in person, it's atrocious. And then the next day, it ended up turning yellow, literally. So I have to do that all over. It was a waste of time. And off camera, I took another loss with the seats. I tried to paint them, that did not work, so we just end up reupholstering them in this velvety blue material. In the next video, we're going to show you the before and after and just how everything turned out. So if you want to watch that, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so that you can see when we post that video. And I will see you guys in the next one. I'm going to find something else to say because I don't want to say that again. Everybody says that. See you in the next one. But anyway, you'll see the next video. So thank you for watching. Bye.